On March 23, 2010, Munawar Toha grew anxious, constantly checking the time. Where is Sari? Why hasn't she come home yet? He wondered. Typically, after dropping off their two children at school, his wife would return home right away. That day, 63-year-old Toha had taken the day off from work due to illness. He quickly reached out to neighbors and friends to ask if they knew where Sari was, but no one had seen her. When school let out, Toha went to pick up their two children, who were supposed to be picked up by Sari. He left the kids with a friend and began searching for Sari in his car. Unfortunately, his efforts were in vain, as Sari was still nowhere to be found. Eventually, Toha decided to report her disappearance to the police. Shortly after, officers arrived at his home to ask for details. Toha explained that Sari, 41 years old, had not come home and had taken the family car. "Was there anything unusual before she went missing?" asked the officer. "Yes, the day before, she withdrew $5,000 from our account," Toha replied, clearly worried. Toha explained that he and Sari were a happy couple. They had married in Indonesia in 2000 and had lived in Coral Springs, Florida, for the past 10 years. Sari was from Jakarta, and they had two young sons together. Toha worked as an employee in the transportation department. The police immediately began searching the area for Sari and her silver Daewoo Nubira. News of Sari's disappearance also reached Titi, Sari's sister who lived in Sweden. Titi quickly flew to Florida to be with Toha and her nephews. On the advice of the police, they held a press conference. In tears, Toha pleaded for Sari to return home and urged the public to help find her. However, the police's efforts to locate Sari and her car had not yet been successful. A breakthrough came when Toha contacted the police, informing them that he had found a letter written by Sari. The letter appeared to be a suicide note. In it, Sari expressed that she was feeling depressed and could no longer go on living because she had been raped by a man named Malcolm Clark. Who was Malcolm Clark? He turned out to be Toha's co-worker. The police immediately brought Malcolm in for questioning. Malcolm seemed confused and said, "I only know Toha. I don't know his wife." The police couldn't detain Malcolm due to insufficient evidence, so the investigation continued. Authorities began examining the area surrounding Malcolm's workplace, which was also Toha's office. Behind the building was a lake known as Crystal Lake. Fortunately, the area was equipped with CCTV, allowing the police to monitor Malcolm's movements. When they reviewed the CCTV footage, they were shocked. On the night of March 23, 2010, a man was seen driving Sari's Daewoo car. He took a bicycle out of the trunk, pushed the car into the lake until it sank, and then rode away on the bicycle. But who was this man? The police continued examining the CCTV footage. A few hours later, an SUV briefly stopped near the lake, as if checking something before driving off. That SUV belonged to Toha. That same night, the police dispatched a dive team to investigate Crystal Lake. Within a short time, they found Sari's Daewoo car, along with her body, wrapped in a garbage bag. Meanwhile, the police received information from Sari's sister and friends that Toha and Sari's marriage had not been as happy as Toha claimed. Toha was known to be very controlling, jealous, and often accused Sari of infidelity. Based on the investigation, the police concluded that Toha had killed Sari in their home. Sari's blood was found in the kitchen and on the garage floor, and the autopsy revealed that her head had been struck 5 times. After killing Sari, Toha wrapped her body and drove it to Crystal Lake behind his office, then pushed the car into the lake. Unbeknownst to him, all of his actions were captured on CCTV. Toha's crimes didn't stop there. After his arrest, he attempted to hire a hitman to eliminate witnesses in his trial. However, he didn't realize that the hitman he contacted was an undercover police officer. Toha was ultimately charged with conspiracy to murder. Due to his brutal actions, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison. What are your thoughts on this case? What lessons can be learned? Leave your comments below. Subscribe, and see you in the next case, tomorrow at 9 a.m.